In this training, I want to also I want to walk through a wholesale process for you step by step. We did an assignment that's on here. Now this is going to be a double close process, and assignment is what we want to hope for 99% of the time. And I'll tell you why here in a second when we start getting through this. But at the end of the day, they're both viable ways of doing it. Not one way has its advantages, another way has its advantage. No big deal, right? They're both strategies, and that's what we're here to do. Here to learn as much as we can so we know what strategy to implement. But one thing you're going to find is that they're very, very similar. They're almost identical up until really like the closing, getting to the closing point. So we share this, let's become a master at this. And like I said before, we dive deeper into this, into the segments and exactly what the mechanics look like um, as you go through the training. So, step number one is we want to find the deal. Mailers, postcards, whatever that looks like, calls, SMS, blasting, internet, social media, pay per click, whatever the strategy is. Signs, bandit signs are tried and true. They work, they're effective. They are one of my favorite ways of doing it, which we get into later. And then good old just networking, right? Events, happy hour, social events, just like being at the right place and letting people know you buy houses. The second thing is now at this point, right? We've gotten the phone call. So we've marketed. Now we've got the phone call. Now we have a motivated seller. Next thing is we meet the motivated seller and we negotiate the price. We have a whole training on how to negotiate that. I'm not going to go into that right now. Watch that training, but I getting kind of want to say high level on this. We negotiate with the seller, and then we come up with a price that everybody's happy with. Once we do that, then we put the home under contract. So now this is going to be referred to as our buy side contract. We take our buy side contract and then now we give it to the title company to run the preliminary title search. What's that? It's essentially where they do a little bit of legwork on the front end to make sure the person you're buying it from has a right to even sell the house. They are who they say they are. And there's no crazy surprises that are going to pop up, right? We just want to know that ahead of time before we go putting a ton more work into selling it. So have the title company do that preliminary search. Step number five is we need to find a buyer. And we do that the exact same way we find sellers. We'll do some mailers, we'll do some SMS, we'll look on social networks, Facebook groups, and LinkedIn all over. And then we'll also add the sign. The signs look a little bit different. No big deal. We'll get into that in great detail. And then networking as well. So these are the ways we're going to find our buyers. Now we find buyers, we find people interested. Now we want to take them through the house. We want to meet them at the property. We meet them at the property, we negotiate, whatever we talk. They're happy with the price of the home, and now they put the house under contract, which means they intend on buying the house. So now this is going to be known as our sell side contract. We take our sell side contract, and then now we give that to the title company. So now the title company is holding two contracts for the same house. Contract number one is the sell contract. I'm sorry, contract number one is the buy contract, the first one. And then contract number two is the sell contract, the one that you've wrapped up with your investor. Now, step nine, the next step. The title company coordinates with both the seller and the buyer about when to close, when and where they're going to close, and the locations. Now, this is very important. This is where you are the intermediary of this transaction, because before your end buyer can buy it, you have to buy it. And we'll get into that here in just a second. So the title company coordinates with everybody, make sure they have all the information they need. The next step is the first closing, closing number one. I call this the buy side close. It's where the seller, title company, and you show up to closing so you can buy the property. You will fund it and you will buy it, and now you own it. Let's say you do this at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m., 9:30 a.m., right? And then a half hour after you buy it, closing number two happens. That is you, the title company, and an investor. That's the second transaction where the investor now funds his purchase of the property from you. his or her purchase from you. So that's the second part of the closing. And then the money gets dispersed, and then the seller gets paid, and then you get paid. That is exactly how the double close works. There's some do's and don'ts, which we get into when we get to that, when you get to that part of the training. But that's high level, exactly how a step-by-step process of how a double close works. And like I said, we'll get into greater detail on the trainings about pros and cons and do's and don'ts. But I hope that was helpful and get you guys going.